child named Charlie lived near a big forest. Charlie loved to explore. One day he decided to explore the forest. The trees were tall and green. They whispered in the wind. "Come play," they seemed to say. Charlie smiled and went into the woods. The forest floor was covered in soft leaves. It smelled like pine trees and damp earth. Charlie took a deep breath. Everything was so alive. He walked deeper and deeper, following a winding path. He couldn't wait to see what he would find. The sunlight peeked through the leaves. It made dancing patterns on the ground. Charlie giggled. Everything felt magical. He picked up a smooth white rock. It was cold in his hand. He put it in his pocket to remember this adventure. The path started to climb a small hill. Charlie took a deep breath and started to climb. He knew something amazing was waiting at the top. He could feel it in his heart. The forest was full of surprises. Charlie reached the top of the hill. He saw a small dirt path. It was hidden behind some bushes. He pushed the branches aside and peeked through. The path looked old and mysterious. Where did it lead? Charlie was curious. He took a deep breath and stepped onto the path. The bushes closed behind him. Now he was really exploring. The path was narrow and winding. It went deeper and deeper into the forest. The sunlight was dimmer here, but Charlie wasn't scared. He felt excited. He walked for a while, listening to the sounds of the forest. Birds chirped, squirrels chattered, the leaves crunched under his feet. Then he saw something amazing. It made him gasp. There in a small clearing was a group of animals. They were playing and laughing. Charlie had never seen anything like it. He slowly walked closer, wanting to see better. This was a real adventure. The animals saw Charlie and stopped playing. They looked at him curiously. There was a rabbit with a fluffy tail, a squirrel with a bushy tail, and a deer with big brown eyes. Charlie smiled shyly. He hoped they wouldn't be scared of him. "Hello," he said softly. The animals didn't run away, they just stared at him. Then the rabbit hopped closer. It twitched its nose and sniffed the air. Charlie stood very still. He didn't want to scare the rabbit away. To Charlie's surprise, the rabbit came right up to him. It looked at him with big wet eyes. Then it did something unexpected. It stood on its hind legs and offered him a blade of grass. Charlie giggled. It was like the rabbit was giving him a present. He took the blade of grass and smiled at the rabbit. "Thank you," he whispered. The other animals seemed to relax. They came closer, sniffing the air curiously. Charlie felt happy. He had made new friends. Section 4. A Day of Joy. The animals led Charlie to their secret playground. It was a sunny clearing in the forest. There was a small stream for splashing and a big log for climbing. Charlie played with the animals all afternoon. He felt like he belonged here. He chased the rabbit through the trees. He helped the squirrel gather nuts. He even rode on the deer's back. They laughed and played until the sun started to set. Charlie had never had so much fun. As the light faded, the animals started to gather their things. It was time for them to go home. Charlie knew he should go home too. He hugged the rabbit goodbye, patted the squirrel on the head and waved to the deer. He promised to visit them again soon. He turned to go, but then he realized something terrible. He didn't know the way back. He looked around, but everything looked different in the fading light. He was lost. Section 5. The Long Way Home. Charlie started to feel scared. The forest was dark and quiet now. The trees looked like scary giants in the shadows. He called out for his animal friends, but they were gone. He was all alone. He started to walk, hoping to find his way back to the main path, but every turn seemed to lead him deeper into the woods. The trees grew thicker, and the undergrowth was dense and thorny. Charlie tripped and fell, scraping his knee. He started to cry. He sat down on a fallen log, feeling small and lost. The forest sounds, once so friendly, now seemed menacing. He wished he'd never left the main path. He wanted to go home, but then he remembered something his father always told him. "When you're lost, don't panic. Use your head." Charlie wiped his tears and took a deep breath. He could do this. He had to be brave. Section 6. Courage and Cookies. Charlie looked around carefully. He noticed that moss grew thicker on one side of the trees. His dad had taught him that moss usually grows on the north side. He could use this to help him find his way. He started walking again, keeping the moss on his right side. He climbed over fallen logs and pushed through thick bushes. It was hard work, but he didn't give up. He was determined to find his way home. Finally, after what felt like hours, he saw a light shining through the trees. He ran towards it, his heart pounding with hope. As he got closer, he recognized the light. It was the lamppost at the edge of the forest. He had found his way back. Charlie emerged from the trees, tired and scratched, but safe. He ran towards his house, where he could see his parents waiting anxiously on the porch. They rushed to greet him, relief flooding their faces. That night, curled up in bed with a warm glass of milk and a plate of his favorite cookies, Charlie knew he had learned a valuable lesson that day. He had learned about courage, about friendship, and about the importance of using his head even when he was scared. And most importantly, he had learned that even though the forest could be a little bit scary sometimes, it was also a place of wonder and magic, and he couldn't wait